Hiya, and welcome to another week with Explore with Amanda. This week we are going to look at the stylish London. This week is especially exciting for me because I am hoping within the next 12 months to go to London. So it's given me a little bit of extra background knowledge so for when I travel. So I hope you guys learn a little bit as well. So London is, of course, the capital city of England, and it was founded by the Romans who named it Londinium. And then obviously it's been modernised now and changed into London. So it's the most populated city in England, and its urban area is actually the second most populated in the EU after Paris, which we looked at last week. So that's really interesting. I didn't realise that. There's a connection to last week's video as well, which is always really cool. So what I love about London is it's not just home to humans, but to about 10,000 foxes as well. I love foxes. I think they're really cute. And for anyone who follows my Instagram, you would have seen me post one of the foxes that I have in my house. So yeah, there's so many foxes in London that there are now 16 foxes for every square mile of London. So they're pretty bold. They're willing to just walk along the sidewalk with everyone. A lot of them will go into people's backyards and raise their cubs there. There's a few funny stories about one going into a filing cabinet and falling asleep in the House of Parliaments. And then one naughty little fox snuck into Buckingham Palace and has reportedly killed some of the Queen's flamingos. So yeah, they like to cause a bit of mischief, but there was a survey conducted saying that about 80% of people like having them around the city, so they won't be going anywhere anytime soon, which is good because I would love just to walk around and have all these foxes. I think that would be rather a cute experience. So London is a pretty famous tourist attraction. I think everyone kind of thinks of it automatically when people talk about England and just traveling in general. A lot of people will go there as their first experience because for those of us who speak English, you're not having to worry about learning a different language or anything like that. And their culture isn't dramatically different from, say, us in Australia. So it's so popular that in 2015 it was actually ranked the world's most visited city. So they've had over 65 million visits, and that's a lot of people and a lot of traffic and different things like that. So it just kind of really emphasises how popular London is. This is really good for England because London has employed a lot of people and brought in a lot of money because of tourism. It is one of their strongest industries. So them being ranked the world's most visited city gives even more advertisement for people who maybe have not gone yet. So it really strengthens their economy and different things like that. And I think also another thing is kind of like their transport systems. So everyone's heard of like the London Tube, the Underground, the subway, whatever you want to call it. It's the oldest underground rail network in the world. It was opened in 1863, so that is 154 years ago. So that is a very long time. It's very old, but it's still very cool that they have a working system that's been around for so long. Also, their bus service is pretty impressive. They have the largest in the world. It runs 24 hours a day. It has roughly 8,500 buses and more than 700 routes. And I mean, who doesn't find the double-decker red bus iconic to London? So now I kind of understand why, with their bus services being so impressive. I mean, it's hard enough to get a bus around the uni, so London just has buses everywhere. Maybe we should all just go there. So London has some pretty awesome stuff in its city. There's the London Eye, Big Ben, Westminster Abbey, and that's just to name a few. I'm not going to get through all of the attractions in this video due to time restrictions and things like that. So I'm just going to go over a couple. London Eye is going to be one because that has always impressed me. I really love heights and I really like Ferris wheels, so this has always seemed a bit of a perfect match for me. So it stands at the south bank of the River Thames, and it's 135 metres tall. So a full rotation takes roughly 30 minutes, so you can really take in the views and enjoy. It's not like a 1 minute you're done. So from the top of it, you can see about 25 miles away on a good day, and you can make out Windsor Castle from the top, so that's really cool. And it is actually one of the highest viewing platforms in London. And it has this really cool feature that the wheel doesn't actually have to stop for people to get off. It just, I don't know, it obviously goes at a speed that it's enough that people can just step on and step off as it goes. So that's really cool. It's like a continuous thing. It was erected in 1999, and at the time it was the world's tallest Ferris wheel. However, it's now been taken over by a couple, and at the moment the highest is Las Vegas High Roller, which was built in 2014. So the London Eye was formally opened on the December 31st, 1999 by the then Prime Minister Tony Blair, but due to a clutch problem, the public wasn't able to go on it until March 2000. And more than 3.5 million people go on the London Eye each year, and it carries around 800 people each rotation. So that's a lot of people. That's really cool. My brother recently has come back from London, and I asked him, that was the first thing I asked him, did you go on the London Eye? But apparently the waiting line is so long and it's ridiculous. So he didn't go on it. He wasn't prepared to wait that long, which disappointed me a little bit. I will be one of those people that will wait for like 2 hours just to go on a 30-minute ride of a wheel, but that's okay. So Big Ben is another really cool icon of London. A survey conducted actually named it the most popular landmark in the UK, and it's the most iconic film location in London. So that is really cool. Like, that kind of surprised me. I thought maybe the London Eye would have been a little bit more iconic in a sense, but Big Ben is really cool. It's a really cool looking building. It's a Gothic revival style, and it was completed in 1855. So it's 162 years old. So that's even older than the London Tube. So you can kind of see that London has been around for a really long time. It's got a lot of old architecture, similar to like what Paris had last week's video. So Big Ben is not actually the name of a tower. I think a lot of people realise this, but I don't think a lot of people know what the actual name is. So it was originally named the Great Bell of the Clock Tower. However, it is now officially known as the Elizabeth Tower. This is in honour of Elizabeth II for her Diamond Jubilee. That was in 2012. So I think that's really cute that it's now named after their queen. Yeah, but it is really iconic to London, and it's a really nice building, and it's attached to the House of Parliament and things like that. So yeah, it's really historic. So there's also Westminster Abbey. This was not always named Westminster Abbey. It was originally the Collegiate Church of St. Peter at Westminster. I think them shortening them was a very smart idea, because who can remember a long title like that? So it's a large, mainly Gothic abbey church in Westminster. It's one of the UK's most notable religious buildings, and it's a traditional place of coronation and burial site for the English and later British monarchs. So it really does have a lot of history attached to the country and like the religious background. So between 1540 and 1556, the abbey had a status of a cathedral. However, 1560, the building was no longer declared as an abbey nor a cathedral, having instead a status of the Church of England Royal Peculiar, a church that's directly responsible to the sovereign. So the Church of England is actually the royal family's main church and religion, so that's why they've done that, just to respect the royal family as royalty is such a massive part of England's history and different things like that. So that's really interesting as well, because even though it's not technically an abbey anymore, it's still known as Westminster Abbey, and that's what a lot of people think it is. Yeah. And speaking of abbeys, Abbey Road is a huge popular cultural reference for London. So for those of you who don't know it, it's a zebra crossing. That's simply it. It's just a pedestrian crossing in London, but it was made famous thanks to the Beatles album Abbey Road. It was released in 1969 and has become one of the most iconic albums in the world, I think. It was so popular, London has added it to its tourism spots, like when you go on a bus tour and things like that, they'll stop at Abbey Road, and a lot of people try and recreate the album. One of my friends was in England over Christmas, and her friend actually tried to do it as well. Yeah, so the Beatles really helped to add tourism to that particular road, not just England for being so popular. Another aspect of England that I simply adore is TV series and movies. I watch more British TV series than I do Australian, which is probably not a good thing. I should be supporting local movies, but England just has amazing actors, really awesome film locations, and storylines and humour, and just everything about them is great. So my top two picks for English movies, Love Actually and the Bridget Jones series. They are amazing. I watch them on a fairly regular basis. They're really cool. And other movies include Notting Hill and Four Weddings and a Funeral. I know that all of these feature Hugh Grant. Yes, I do like Hugh Grant. Colin Firth is also in a couple of them, and he's really awesome. So I'd recommend watching them. And then you also have Sherlock Holmes, who of course is a resident of Baker Street. So you have the TV series with Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman. It has a lot of modernized references in it, which I think really adds that extra spark to the TV series and makes it really enjoyable for people like myself who are a little bit younger. And then you've got the movies as well, which have Robert Downey Jr. So that's also really cool. And there's scenes of London Bridge and different things like that in that one. And a TV series that if you're over 16, I'd recommend watching is The In-Betweeners. It's really funny, a bit immature. Not something for younger viewers, but it's definitely worth a watch. It's quite funny. So we have reached the Tiffany Co part of the video. So there's actually quite a few in London. So you definitely will not have an issue going shopping. So you have your flagship store in Bond Street, which if you follow the Instagram, I posted a photo. It's actually a really gorgeous building. It's so simple and elegant, much like Tiffany themselves. And then there's a store attached to the Harrods luxury jeweler. So if you're in Harrods, which is a massive department store in London, just look around for Tiffany. There's one in Sloane Street. There's a Royal Exchange store. There's a little mini store within London Westfield. There's a Carnaby Wharf, and there's some in Heathrow Airport. So this concludes my London video. I've tried to change it up a little bit by integrating those popular cultural references and about the movies and different things like that, rather than just sticking to the architecture. So please let me know if you like that, because I know that when I'm hopefully going to do a New York video soon, and that's also another one where I have a lot of movies and popular cultural references that I can link to that. So if you guys really liked it, let me know. If you didn't, if you want me to stick to the architecture, that's really cool as well. Whatever you guys want to do, as long as you guys are enjoying the videos and learning a bit about these places, I don't mind at all. So thank you, and stay tuned for next week. See you later.